Alright, we're back. Another UFC card. Did really good on predictions last week. I got the most correct picks. Out of all the UFC YouTube channels, if you subscribe to UFC Prediction Tracker, I got 10 out of 11. There was an account that was above me by percentage because he only did 8 picks, but I got the most correct picks, tied with like a bunch of channels. So, yeah, it's been pretty good last week's for predictions, and let's hope we can continue it. But without further ado, first fight of the night: Hung Sung Park versus Naima Jagal Tumendemberel. Demberel didn't look that bad his last fight. I think he did lose it, if I'm remembering correctly, against Carlos Hernandez, but it was close. Carlos Hernandez is a pretty good guy as well. Oh man, I don't know how to pick this fight. Because Hung Sung Park, he's not bad, but he's had a lot of close calls. Like, even against Shannon Ross, he wasn't looking that good. I'm pretty sure Shannon Ross won the first round, or at least it was very competitive. Oh, you know what? Oh my god. They both fought Tom Noi Kiwam. They're both very similar level. But I do like that Park's got better striking. And he can grapple. I'm going to go Park because he seems a bit more well-rounded in my opinion. From memory, Tumendemberel is sort of just a winging overhand type of guy. So I'm going to go Park, not super confident. There is some fights I'm not that confident on in this card, I'm not going to lie. But yeah, I'm going to go Park. Then we have Quillen Salkilld versus Anshul Jubli. Big Quillen Salkilld enjoyer. I've interviewed him about 3 times now. So we have a bit of a stake in this contest, like I am actively going to be rooting for Quillen Salkilld, obviously. But, like, outside of the bias, being a big fan and, having a personal connection with, interviewing and just talking to him a lot, I am going to go with Quillen Salkilld. I think this is a nightmare matchup for Anshul Jubli. And I'll get into why I think this is a nightmare matchup for Anshul Jubli. Let's just look at the size here, okay? Salkild's listed as 6 foot. I think he's closer to 6'1". He's a pretty tall guy. Both of these guys are apparently going to be 6 foot. I don't believe Anshul Jubli's 6 foot tall. I think Salkild's going to be considerably taller than him. Then the reach. There is a 6-inch reach advantage for Quillen Salkilld. That's an advantage in his neck. He's a much better striker than Anshul Jubli. That's another one in his basket. He's a much better grappler than Anshul Jubli. He's more powerful than Anshul Jubli. He's more athletic than Anshul Jubli. He's a bigger lightweight. Anshul Jubli looks like a featherweight. He probably could make featherweight. He's got more experience, believe it or not. I know they're both listed at 7-1, but Quillen Salkild's got a very long amateur career where he beat some pretty decent guys as well. And he's younger as well. He's going to be improving more than Anshul Jubli. He's beat better level of competition. And just overall, he's more technical than Anshul Jubli. He's got more of a dog in him. I'm not just saying that because of Mike Breeden barking at Anshul Jubli. Like, he's generally got more dog in him. Because we did see Anshul Jubli break a bit, while we've seen Quillen Salkilld go 5 rounds on the regional scene and just not slow down at all. So I really like this matchup for Quillen Salkilld, and I think he's going to get a knockout in this fight in the first round over Anshul Jubli. Jubli's a tough guy, in the beginning fights, but he does slow down. But I think Quillen Salkilld will just go out there and chin him, because he knocked out Blake Donnelly in like 20 seconds. And Blake Donnelly, in my opinion, would beat Anshul Jubli, and it's not just MMA math, but Blake Donnelly is like a really good boxer in the Australian scene, where he's boxed up a lot of good opponents. He even fought Conor Benn in the amateurs, because he was an amateur boxer as well. And Quillen Salkilld just went out there and smoked him in like 20 seconds. I really could see a similar scenario where that happens in this fight, or maybe Salkilld takes his time a little bit, but I do think eventually he will get the win here. I think he's just a nightmare stylistic matchup for Anshul Jubli. But yeah, I'm going to go Quillen Salkilld. Like, Gage Young is considerably better than Anshul Jubli. I'm just going to put that out there. Gage Young is who Quillen Salkilld beat on Contender Series. And then, of course, there's other opponents he's beat that I would consider quite better than Anshul Jubli. So yeah, I'm going to go Quillen Salkilld. Then moving on up, we have Kevin Jousset versus Jonathan Micallef. This is honestly such a tough fight to predict. Both these guys are well known in the Australian welterweight scene. Jousset fights out of New Zealand, but his career has been all mostly in the Australian scene. So I've watched both of these guys on the come up. I'm gonna go Kevin Jousset to get this one done. I just think his takedown defense is really good, and like Micallef's striking has a lot of holes in it, especially his defense. He's very athletic. He's a big guy for this weight class, long arms, but I like Kevin Jousset's style in this fight. Good kickboxer. He's got a judo base. On the ground, I would say Micallef's much better, but Jousset just has such good takedown defense. I don't see this fight going to the ground. And if it stays standing, I like Kevin Jousset striking a bit more. Very durable. He got beat by Brian Battle. Brian Battle's a good fighter. But yeah, I'm going to go Kevin Jousset to get a decision here over Jonathan Micallef. But, all respect to Micallef. He's a good guy. I've spoke to him a few times in the DMs, but never done an interview or anything like that. But he's a good guy. He's a good fighter. He's a young guy. He can come back if he loses this fight. But I do think Kevin Jousset will probably get this one done. It's a pretty tough ask for your debut, in my opinion. But also, this is a fight that could have happened on the regional scene. Like, this could have been a Hex main event at one point. But anyway, you're getting a lot of insight in this because I know all these guys very well. So anyway, we have Cody Steele versus Rongzhu. I'm going to go with Cody Steele to get this one done. I think Cody Steele will knock out Rongzhu. Rongzhu is pretty good. He's decent. He came back he got cut from the UFC, came back, won a bunch of fights, won road to UFC, and now he's back. Last fight lost to Chris Padilla. But I think Cody Steele, while he has many flaws in my opinion, I don't think this is the final product. He's a pretty young guy as well. 29, so he's not super young, but he's still, he's actually the much older guy here against Rongzhu. Holy shit. Completely forgot how young Rongzhu was. That's crazy. But I do think out of these two, Cody Steele, that's really throwing me off a little bit. Cody Steele's very athletic. He's sort of reminds me of Michael Chandler, like a Eurasian, like a white Asian, like a half white, half Korean version of Michael Chandler. He's got the same build. He's a very athletic dude, powerful guy. He's mostly a grappler, but he's got big bombs in his hands. Like you see. Body shot, KO, but he's a jiu-jitsu guy. That's the thing. He even had a jiu-jitsu match against Gregory Rodriguez, which is crazy if that's the Gregory Rodriguez I'm thinking. Holy shit. Against Robocop, that's crazy. That is a big size difference. Robocop's a big guy. But anyway, I'm going to go Cody Steele. I think he'll eventually find the chin of Rongzhu, and I think he'll get him out of this. So I'm going to go Cody Steele by KO. Now, this is an interesting fight here. This was before Cody Haddon was pulled out. This was my Cody Haddon versus Alexandra I was about to say Pantoja. Oh my god, Topuria was my most keen fight on this card, which honestly says a lot about the card. But I really liked Topuria versus Haddon. I thought it was a really good fight. But I was so confident in Cody Haddon to win that fight. But this fight, I'm not as confident in Colby Thicknesse as I was Cody Haddon, just because I feel like Cody Haddon was a lot more well-rounded and arguably better in everywhere against Topuria. I feel like he would have kept the fight standing. I feel like his boxing is a bit more better than Topuria. But again, the thing with this fight, and this goes for both men, there are so many unknowns for how good either of these guys are. I generally don't know. I can't tell you how good Alexandre Topuria is, and I can't tell you how good... There is some question marks for Colby Thicknesse too. I watched all of his fights, but there is question marks. How good is his striking? We haven't really seen it on display too much. He has dropped people before, so maybe he's got a bit of sting to his punches, but there is still, like I say, a lot of question marks about both men. I feel like there's more question marks for Topuria because he's been fighting horrendous competition. You can say what you want about Colby Thicknesse's recent level of comp because he's been fighting a lot of Southeast Asian guys who don't have the greatest records. But compared to the guy Topuria is fighting, 1-9 guys, 2-7 type guys, he's pretty much fighting like UFC champion level caliber guys compared to Topuria. So like there is a lot of question marks about both men, like how good is both men, how good are they both? But just breaking this down, just based on their fights, I like Colby Thicknesse to get this one done. Now I'm gonna just put this out there. The first fighter I ever interviewed was Colby Thicknesse, so people are going to think there's some bias here, but I'm not saying this is a lock. I think this is a tough fight to predict. I just don't know enough about Topuria, and I'm talking about the big bro, to pick him here. I just don't know, like, how's he going to deal with this type of stuff? We have seen him lose before to, I think his name was Ivanov, something like that. He was a Bulgarian guy who looked roided to the gills. Apparently he was much bigger. He was like at a 150-pound catch weight or something like that. So he was definitely a big guy. And then he eventually got broken, but the guy was apparently a roid cheat. That's why he hasn't fought since. Or he hasn't fought for a while because he tested positive for roids or something like that. That's what I've heard. But yeah, so it's hard to know how good Topuria is, but from what I can gather, I don't think he's going to have the greatest cardio. And the one thing about Colby Thicknesse is he has really good cardio, good pressure, really good pace. He's a hard-working guy. From what I've heard of everyone from freestyle, this guy just always one of the hardest working guys in the gym, and he's got a lot more experience over Topuria. Topuria has not been inactive. We haven't actually seen. Yes, Topuria's had MMA fights, but we haven't seen him in an actual fight since 2015 when he lost, because these guys he's been fighting are not competitive matchups. They're not fights, in my opinion. These are just can crushing. So I feel like we don't really know if he's ready for the UFC. That's like a big question mark on Topuria. It's going to be almost a year since he fought. He's never actually made 135 pounds. All of his, his word on word bantamweight fights. Word on word was not the word I was looking for. But you guys know what I mean. Like none of his bantamweight fights were bantamweight fights. They're all 138 catch weight. He's never actually made the 135 on the mark before. Like he's never actually fought an official bantamweight fight. It's always been 138 pounds or heavier. So there's a lot of question marks here. But regardless, I'm going to go Colby Thicknesse. He's a moderate underdog, but I feel like the level of competition is on his side. Like big time. We know he can deal with adversity. He's come back from adversity. Well, we don't know if Alec can come back from adversity in this fight. So I'm going to go Colby Thicknesse. I'm not going to say it's a lock or anything like that. It's a competitive fight, but I will go Thicknesse by third round submission or TKO. I think he's going to get a late finish or at least get a late surge because he's got really good cardio, good pace, and just doesn't stop. And he's got a lot of people who can give him similar looks for somebody the size of Topuria at freestyle MMA. Now moving up, I really talked about that fight a lot there. We have Wang versus Bruna Brasil. I'm going to go Wang here. Bruna Brasil, I think she beat Molly McCann, but at this point we don't really rate wins over Molly McCann. She's been chinned by Denise Gomez. She had knee injuries, and she also lost to Luma Lookboom. So not bad losses by any means, but I'm going to go Wang. I know she lost her last fight, but I think she is still really good. She's a really good striker, she's powerful, and she's turning around pretty quickly as well, which I like to see. She's not like super young. She's 32, like she's not super young for a woman fighter, so she's got to do what she can. So yeah, I'm going to go Wang. Then we have Tom Nolan versus Borshchev. Or Vyacheslav Borshchev, I should say. This is where it's tough, because I know people are going to think it's crazy for me to say this, but like people really have jumped off the Tom Nolan hype train. I feel like he is 2-0 now. He rebounded, so he has 2 wins in the UFC. But he did get dropped in his debut by Mota. Got TKO'd in that fight. Then he also got dropped by Martinez, I think it was. Was it Martinez? I swear his name was Martinez. Yeah, Victor Martinez. Which wasn't a good look, but it wasn't like... I feel like the knockdown was a bit overrated. Overstated, so not overrated. And then obviously he beat Dominic Reyes' brother in his last fight. And I know it wasn't like a crazy performance, like a slugging it out or anything like that. But what he did show me in that fight is he has really good cardio. If the fight goes longer, he doesn't slow down. Like, that is a good aspect of his game. He does seem to have really good cardio. He won every round against Reyes. Again, he probably should have knocked out Reyes. But Borshchev, he does seem to slow down a little bit. He's a powerful guy. He's very slick. On the feet, I feel like this is a pretty competitive fight on the feet. Like, I'm not going to lie. Like, Tom Nolan might not be the most durable guy, but I don't think Borshchev is very durable either. He did get knocked down by Chase Hooper. Now, I know takedown threat, yada yada. That does have to be factored in. But I think Tom Nolan can offensively wrestle here. I think he's got a really underrated ground game. Especially his ground and pound is nasty, nasty stuff. I think he probably will shoot in this fight at some point, and I think he would be able to get down Borshchev, because Borshchev doesn't have great takedown defense. Anyone who shoots at him normally does get him down. And on the feet, I think that would also open more openings for Tom Nolan. So I am going to go Tom Nolan to beat Borshchev. I know, crazy pick. It's going to seem like I'm being biased. Obviously, I've interviewed Tom Nolan as well. I've interviewed, I think, every Aussie guy except for Jake Matthews and Jimmy Crute. Oh, and Justin Tafa. But I guess he's technically like Kiwi, Samoan. But yeah, I'm going to go with Tom Nolan to get this one done. But it is a very interesting match. But I will go Tom Nolan. Then we have Jack Jenkins versus Gabriel Santos. This is a really interesting fight because Gabriel Santos is a pretty good guy. Should have beat Lerone Murphy in my opinion. And then he was whooping up David Onama, but then he got caught. And then David Onama did a little Adesanya arrow thing, which was really, really cringe. But he rebounded against the Chinese guy Yizhao, I think his name is. Yizhao. I'm just going to say that's how you pronounce it. We're going to move on. It was an alright performance. He ended up getting the win. It could have been a bit better, but it is what it is. It didn't get any style points or anything like that, but still, a win's a win. He rebounded. I'm going to pick Jack Jenkins in this fight. Now, if anyone knows the law, they've all seen the Benny P clip, so they know I normally send advice. I lost my Instagram. I have a new one, thebenp_01. If you want to hit that one up, or if you ever want to send me anything, that's my Instagram. But I don't have contact with him anymore, so I can't send him anything for what I would want him to do against Santos. But I think he can beat Santos here. I think he's the better striker than Santos. Santos could grapple, and the one thing is Jack Jenkins does really good takedown defense, but the thing I don't like is Jack Jenkins' get-up seem to be really bad. Like, once he gets taken down, it seems pretty hard for him to get up unless somebody makes a mistake, which is something I don't like in a fighter. Like, I prefer someone like Jack Della Maddalena, who, while doesn't have the best initial takedown defense, he's got very good scrambles and get-ups to get back to his feet. I like that more than someone who is hard to take down, but once you get them down, they're just sort of stuck there. So that is a worry that Santos might just defensively wrestle here. But I think the leg kicks are going to come in clutch here for Jack Jenkins. He's got debilitating leg kicks, good body work. I think eventually he'll be able to win this fight. And I will go by decision. But I think the leg kicks will almost make it close for a finish. But I will go Jack Jenkins to beat Gabriel Santos. Very good striker, very good striking. But yeah, I'm going to go Jack Jenkins. But Gabriel Santos is a really good fighter, and I expect big things from both. Then Jake Matthews versus Francisco Prado. I'm going to go Jake Matthews here. I think Matthews can win both on the feet if he really wants to, or he could just grapple and wrestle like Jamie Mullarkey did in Perth at UFC 284 against Prado. Prado's a good fighter in my opinion. Like, he isn't a bad guy, but he should not be at welterweight. This is a weight class way too small for this guy. Like he says he's 5'10", but I swear this guy's like 5'9", 5'8". He's like I was about to say Brazilian. He's like an Argentine version of Drew Dober with like his head shape. So maybe that's why I had to move up, because he's got one of those Giga Chad jaw lines. But I'm gonna go Jake Matthews, takedowns, boxing. Yeah, I think he'll eventually like get a submission on Prado probably, or just win a decision, because Prado is he's a tough customer, as they like to say. But yeah, big reach advantage for Jake Matthews too. So I'm gonna go Jake Matthews. Then we have Jimmy Crute versus Rodolfo Bellato. A big Jimmy Crute fan. You know, he was my profile picture. I used to, my Twitter. I was a big Jimmy Crute fan. Moments in time. I used to have him as my profile pic on Twitter, but I have to go with Bellato. I don't think this is an unwinnable matchup for Jimmy Crute by any means. He can definitely win this. But Bellato is just really good at keeping the fight to the feet. He's going to be stronger. I feel like he's a really big guy. Like, this is a massive light heavyweight. Like, Jimmy Crute isn't like a big light heavyweight by any means. So yeah, I'm gonna have to go with the tractor here. Like, he's just such a big guy, good grappling, and he's powerful. Now, he's not the most durable guy. He could definitely get caught, but Jimmy Crute's striking is just, I don't trust it. He got to way too confident in his hands, but this is a fight where you sort of need to be good with your hands, but I don't think his hands will be good, because I don't know if he'll be able to out-grapple Bellato. Like, Jimmy Crute's really strong, he has good cardio. But I just have to go with Bellato. It pains me to say, I'm a big Jimmy Crute fan. But I have to go with Bellato at this point. Like, there is part of me that thinks he just catches Bellato how he caught Modestus Bukauskas. Like, I could see him landing a shot like that, because Bellato did almost get knocked out by Ihor Peteria. Like, he got a crazy comeback in that fight where Peteria was killing him. And he can also make it boring as well, Bellato. Like, he can make fights boring. He's not just like a crazy knockout artist. But also at the same time, he beat Batasa Talha, who should have been a middleweight to be fair, but has Talha even fought since that fight, or did he just quit? Yeah, damn. Bro just didn't fight again after that. It's hard. Did get knocked out by Petrino twice. One in the 25 seconds. Only losses are to Petrino, who seems to be like his kryptonite in a way, but yeah, I'm going to have to go with Bellato here, unfortunately. I like Jimmy Crute, but I am going to go Bellato, probably by TKO. So yeah, go on Bellato. Then we have Taliesin Teixeira versus Justin Tafa. I'm going to go... Oh my god, this is another tough one. The thing about this is these fights aren't like... Like, a part of me really likes a Justin Tafa underdog to just like catch this tall, massive dude. Like Mark Hunt versus Steven Struve style. Like, I could just see that in my mind. But Justin Tafa's not like the most durable guy. I know he is a big Samoan guy, but he's not the most durable. He can be hurt. Teixeira's going to have a big 9-inch reach advantage. Oh, fuck. I'm going to go with Teixeira here. I think he'll win this fight. Unfortunately for Justin Tafa, this might be it for him. I mean, the UFC love him. Oh, he's only got one loss. It was to Carl Williams. Then he beat Lane. Beat Porter before that. Okay, no, he won't. He's not even close to being cut. I think it's just because he's like been pulled from a lot of fights. So you like sort of think, oh, I guess he's lost a bunch. But he hasn't. He's got a fan-friendly style. So he'll be fine. But yeah, I'm gonna go Teixeira to win this fight by TKO over Justin Tafa. Then we got Weili Zhang versus Tatiana Suarez. This is honestly a tough fight to predict too. You know, I was thinking for a very long time that Tatiana Suarez was going to be like the kryptonite for Weili Zhang. But when she came back originally, I don't think she looked that great. Especially against De La Rosa, she didn't look amazing in my opinion. And then, like, obviously she beat Alexa Grasso, but I think we've learned Alexa Grasso's takedown defense has never been great. Like, Shevchenko just took her down with ease, and it was a pretty easy win for her. Weili Zhang was looking really dominant against Yan, but then she did almost get finished a couple times. Oh, this is so hard to predict. These fights are killing me. Oh, this is so hard to predict. I'm going to go with Weili Zhang, though. Better striker, very athletic, strong woman. I think she'll be able to keep the fight standing. And if not, I think she'll be able to get takedowns on Suarez herself, because Suarez is always injured. So I'm just going to imagine she's going into this fight with some sort of injury. It just seems to always be the case. So I'm going to imagine that there's something wrong with her in this fight where she won't be able to compete to the best of her ability, and that will benefit Weili Zhang. So I'm going Weili Zhang to get this fight done. Then we have the main event. Thicknesse. Du Plessis versus Sean Strickland. I'm going with the South African, the Safa himself, Thicknesse du Plessis. I think he'll beat Sean Strickland. First fight was pretty competitive. You could argue it went either way. Like, I'm not one of these people that thinks this is like a lock for Thicknesse to win. But I just think Thicknesse... I feel like Sean Strickland's style is one of those styles you have to fight him a second time to figure it out. I feel like the first time it's going to be a bit difficult. And Chris Curtis has said this before, like, Strickland's style is pretty hard the first time you spar with him, but then eventually you get used to it. I feel like that's how it probably is to fight him. It takes you a bit to get your reads. For the guy, like, it is a very weird style. Same with Thicknesse, to be fair. Maybe that's also... We haven't really seen Thicknesse in any rematches, besides the Soldic one, which he did get chinned in. So neither guy has a style that's going to be better for them in the rematch. I feel like you sort of figure it out a bit easier, but since they both got those styles, I guess maybe it works both ways. But I think Thicknesse will win. He can mix in the grappling if need be. I think his striking is coming along better. His pressure, I think he's going to be way more confident at this point. He just beat Adesanya, had a lot of success on the feet. He's a dog. His will to win's crazy. But this is so competitive, man. Like, I really can see the Sean Strickland underdog win, which I hope doesn't happen, because I really need to see Thicknesse du Plessis versus Hamza Chimaev. Not just for the fight, but for the press conference. I'm going to go Thicknesse du Plessis to win this via his plot armor. His plot armor just seems too powerful. I imagine he's going to get this one done somehow. I could honestly... I have a feeling he's going to sub Sean Strickland. I don't think he's going to knock him out, but I think at one point in this fight, he's going to be able to get the back or the neck, and he's just going to either choke him unconscious or he's going to sub him. So I'm going to go Thicknesse du Plessis, but let me know who you guys have. Like this video. I am not very confident in these picks, to be honest. There's some really sneaky, hard fights to predict. Yeah, I'm really worried about this card, guys. Like, last week, I was so confident in the Amavov and MVP and Vinicius Oliveira underdog wins, and then I was pretty confident in the other fights, but this is one where I'm like, fuck, man, I don't know. But yeah, these are my predictions. Let me know who you guys have. Most confident pick is Quillan Salkilld. I'm just so confident he's gonna beat Jubli. But yeah, let me know who you guys have. Make sure you subscribe, like this video, and I'll see you guys next time. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.